I noticed that one of the elements you're incorporating is sound and silence, and I'm really curious, how are sound and silence linked to well-being? Why are these modalities that you want to help people discover?
Yeah, that's very powerful, I believe. Silence, in some ways, is I would say, both are very used now and common. You can use silence when you're meditating, but there are many forms of meditation, not just what we call mindfulness. You can meditate in many other ways. But when I talk about silence, is be able in some ways to silence your brain. Is try to bring it in. You can achieve that through meditation, and give your brain like a rest, and you can use it. We use breathing, because breathing is one of the easiest autonomic system that we can control. It's much harder to control, for example, blood pressure or pulse or cardiac rhythm. But breathing we can control, and that's why I believe the breathing is the key. Is why we use in meditation and many other forms of trying to achieve well-being, I would say. And but silence is, in some ways, is beyond that. Is also when you're in a moment of silence, you can be more connected with the universe. That means you can, if you achieve that moment, you might be able to open up to other things that are more on the subconscious level, and with I would say with a higher level of being, I would say.
And is that just a matter of focus, of clearing away the distractions? Or is there something, I guess, is it a lack? You know, when I don't have the other sounds, then I can have a different awareness? Or is there something real and physical or metaphysical about silence?
Well, yeah, in terms of silence, it doesn't mean not hearing anything. That silence is in a mind-brain level.
Okay.
You know, is because we're thinking all the time, or we're listening all the time. But in some ways, it's developing that ability to slowly set that apart in a way that when you get to a level, and then this enters spirituality, is when you are achieving that level of a silent moment, you are open to something else to happen beyond what I would say the usual noise that our life is. And that is the power of meditation, because it teaches you how to achieve this level of silence, But the key thing is, in some ways, the silence open up an opportunity for something else to happen. And we quite don't know what will happen. And we cannot predict, because then if you're predicting, you're not silent.
Yeah, it's the way you're describing silence, it sounds like it's a release of being in charge. When you talk about silence as brain mind silence, it's a contradiction in terms to say, I will be silent right this moment, right? Because you still are in that intention.
Exactly.
So it sounds like to achieve it, you have to relax into it, like go, I don't know.
Yeah, it's, in some ways you have to, silence would be let go the sense of control, and in terms of control your mind, in a way that let your mind be, and slowly get to that place, theoretically, is a vacuum, no? But it's not really. But that's what I call opening. It's an opening space, and then something will happen in that opening space, and you might achieve and might perceive something that you never had done before, and might achieve a higher level, and then that comes spirituality, and this topic is you might achieve what people call enlightenment, let's say, no? But to achieve that level, when you are reaching a different level in the universe, you have that moment, and we have only moments. I have one very incredible small moment that I felt like that. No? That means it's, but that's very powerful, because at that moment is when you are able to go beyond what we call reality.
And I'm curious, as a neurophysiologist and as somebody who has studied also spirituality a lot, do you think there is something physically, mechanically acting on our brains in that moment? Have you come up with a theory about what you think is happening?
Well, the reality is that there is a lot of research on this topic now. And there is an area in the brain that is related with the intuition. And there is, that means, of course, it's a combination. We cannot separate mind from brain. That means when your brain, and you can see this in people that does meditation for a long time, they do you can do an EEG, you can even do studies with fMRI, brain imaging, and you see that they achieve a state in their brain that is quite different from let's say that their own state of not meditating or normal. I mean, they're completely different. I mean, there is it's both. There's mind and brain work there together.
And that we're able to get there, but just by relaxing into it.
I think that there are. I don't think there's a one form. No, there's one formula to achieve that. And I think the last 5,000 years, human being has achieved a level that is slowly they are developing many ways to get tapped on this next, I would say, form of evolution, human evolution.